My name is Ben Hooks. My job is Executive Director of the NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. The film series we are about to present is about the black experience in America. But it is about part of that experience that we don't often hear about. We hear about the great athletes, the funny comedians, the marvelous TV stars. Thank God for them, because they are doing a great job. But you know, we can't all do that. But what we can do, and what we have done, is to achieve equal excellence in other areas of life. Today, think of the fine arts, painting, sculpture, serious music, dance, drama. Think of the tremendous impact of black leadership in this area of the American experience. The great achievements of black people in these areas have been in spite of all types of obstacles, discouragements, and hostilities that even now are still to be overcome. But the achievements have happened and are happening now. This film series begins where the black experience in America started. It begins with the origins. To introduce this segment, I'm happy to present a young man who, because of his achievements, is particularly suited to tell you this story. Director, actor, George Stanford Brown.
Welcome to an adventure story. It's an exciting story, filled with pirates and battles, escapes, terror, pain, revenge, kidnappings, secret meetings, and happy reunions. Now, what makes this story out of the ordinary is this. It's about a dark journey we took a long time ago, and in the end, the triumph of human spirit. It's a story that cannot be told too often. It's a sad comment on the world, but think of this a minute. So often, great art and great achievements are born out of anger, alienation, and frustration. The famous historian Arnold Toynbee called it challenge and response. So you see, from the seeds of slavery in America came the fruits of culture. Our story begins in the rich and colorful community life of West Africa several hundred years ago. In the 15th and 16th centuries, the Yorubas of West Africa were among the most culturally advanced peoples on the continent. Batik was one of the earliest practice arts. Woven cloth came from Mali to the north, and decorative jewelry was finely worked in brass, silver, and gold. Some of the world's finest bronze sculpture was created at Ife. Pottery and baskets were decorated according to local customs and could be so identified. Musicians made their own instruments and were among the elite of the villages. A person of great importance and influence was the griot. He was a storyteller, the traveling troubadour. But more than that, he was the recorder of history, the authority who went from village to village carrying the news. Here, at this Yoruba wedding ceremony, he passes on his stories, and the people, for emphasis, repeat the principal facts. This is the origin of the call and response, which echoes down through history and is a big influence even on today's modern music. In this Yoruba story, the griot warns the people of a coming danger, slavery. Torn from their families, taken from their homes, left with only their bodies, their minds, and the echo of what they were. Taken in chains to the coast, they were inhumanly packed into the cramped holds of slave ships bound for North America.
Deep in the festering hold thy father lies. The corpse of mercy rots with him. Rats eat love's rotten, jellied eyes. But oh, the living look at you with human eyes whose suffering accuses you, whose hatred reaches through the thrill of dark to strike you like a leper's claw. You cannot stare that hatred down, or chain the fear that stalks the watchers and breathes on you its fetid, scorching breath. Cannot kill the deep, immortal human wish, the timeless will. Voyage through death to life on these shores.
And so, the enslaved people of many West African cultures were put to working in the land. Raw, unskilled labor. That's what a man was bought and sold for. But the realities of life reawakened cultural instincts. To keep warm at night, quilts were fashioned out of cast-off clothes. The patterns instinctively followed half-forgotten African designs, still seen today in modern textiles. Old skills were quickly relearned. Slave owners found that many slaves made excellent blacksmiths. Woodworking skills among the slaves were put to use in carpentry tasks, furniture making, and wood carving. Since skilled labor was hard to find in colonial America, slaves were always in demand as masons, cobblers, locksmiths, tanners, bookbinders, silversmiths, and engravers. The plantation owners feared the possible power of the slaves. The owners were suspicious about blacks gathering alone for religious activity, and at best, tolerated it. In America, the slaves identified with the biblical Hebrews in Egyptian bondage. They had overheard those stories in white Sunday schools and sermons, and they adapted the tales to their own situation. Even in the face of danger, they gathered to hear them retold and rearranged in their own African manner, creating a distinctive oral literature. The group leader naturally was the storyteller, the griot.
So the Lord, he talked to Moses. And he said, if the Pharaoh still wouldn't let the children of Israel leave on their own, then Moses should call for a plague or locust to come and eat every tree, every leaf, every grain in Egypt. And that's just what Moses did. Oh, he stretched forth the hand, and he raised his staff, and he called for a great east wind, and it blew all night, it blew all morning, and it brought the locust, and the locust covered the face of the land of Egypt. And the land was dark, and the locust ate the trees, it ate the fruit, it ate the cotton, it ate the cane, and it ate every single green living thing in the whole land of Egypt. And the Pharaoh, oh, the Pharaoh, he called for Moses. And he said, Moses, I see how I was wrong in not giving the children of Israel their freedom. And he sure was silent and pleased with Moses forgiving me sin. And Moses, he prayed to the Lord. And the Lord brought forth a powerful west wind. And it blew every single one of them locusts right on down. Oh, yes it did. Yes it did. And but the Pharaoh, mean Pharaoh, the Lord, he hardened his heart. And he still wouldn't let the children of Israel go.
Slaves were not only forbidden to gather, but laws were passed against the teaching of reading and writing. Therefore, weddings such as this one relied on the oral tradition. The word-of-mouth tradition and its powers of communication were more and more vested in the preacher, the griot.
How many do you say there are?
About 30, maybe more.
Armed? Are they armed?
It's hard to tell. It's dark. But they got torches.
What damage?
Burned the Morris barn. Scattered the horses.
Where is Morris?
Took his wife and went to Mill Creek. What we gonna do?
You tell that preacher I want to have a talk with him. I'm going to put the fear of God into him.
You think that's gonna do any good?
We're going to have quiet darkies or dead ones.
I'll get the preacher.
This is the rule. No more than 5 slaves are to gather for any reason unless there's a white man present. Now that means no church meeting, and it means no preaching. This is your only warning. If we catch you together, we'll sell the men and ship the women and children down the river. Do you understand me, preacher? Now you tell your people.
Can you read? Want to be free?
Yeah.
You want to get to the north? I got something for you.
By the late 1840s, people against slavery from the north were secretly visiting the south. Did preachers and leaders, papers and pamphlets such as the Black Chronicle and David Walker's Appeal. David Walker's Appeal was known as the first and most famous statement against slavery from the pen of a black man.
Runs, falls, rises, stumbles on from darkness into darkness, and the darkness thicketed with shapes of terror, and the hunters pursuing, and the hounds pursuing, and the night cold, and the night long, and the river to cross, and the jackma lanterns beckoning. Renegade, 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 rise and go, or fare you well. No more auction block for me, no more driver's lash for me. Oh, that train, ghost story train, through swamp and savannah, move her in, over trestles of dew, through caves of the wish, midnight special on a saber track, move her in, first stop mercy and the last a hallelujah. Hum, rider my train, mean to be free.
And after the Holocaust, there was a freedom, on paper at least. Technically, slavery had ended, but the struggle for equality was just beginning. The mighty, vigorous tree that had come from Africa had been pruned back almost to its roots. But from those roots sprang a healthy new growth, a vital, intense growth that made important contributions to the mainstream of American life. So you see, it is through those contributions in art, music, theater, dance, science, political leadership, that the descendants of Africa have gained the attention of the world, securing a place in our contemporary culture.